Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode, we talk about a specific movie, which we'll get into in a little bit. But first, as usual, I need to invite you, yes, you, the listener, to join us in the fan vote. We need movies for the fan vote. We're always looking for new ones, even though right now we do have 4 new ones ready to go. But you can suggest a movie to us by either commenting on the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z on YouTube, sending us an email at ff.filmfreakswithaz@gmail.com, or talking in the Discord, the Ferret Nation Discord, my Discord, in the movie stuff section. You can also recommend movies there. Or when you're on the podcast, if you're invited onto the podcast, you can always just mention a movie that you want to watch there too. The fan vote takes place during Tay's episode, so if you want to get your vote, your movie suggestion in before the next episode, it should make it on the next list. Although, like I said, I think we have 4 new ones anyway, so it'd probably be next time anyway. All right, uh, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we talk about the movie. I am Superintendent the Ferret, and I'm here with.
Investigator Bill Wong Waffles.
Policeman Tay.
And Detective Callus.
How are we doing today, my group of comrades?
Doing good.
Not
All
bad.
right.
Not bad at all.
So we all kind of
no.
used their same names from last time, but
I didn't.
Oh yeah, you were just Tay. That's right. I
Yeah,
remember
like
now.
May. I thought about doing
You
that
didn't
again.
either, Yummy.
Well, I was going. Well, you didn't let me finish my sentence before everyone butted in. I was gonna say, now that I'm the superintendent, you all have to salute me when I enter the room.
Oh, really?
Well,
That's
good thing
right.
we're not in a room.
I resigned being a policeman.
You can't
Well, hold on. I
resign.
gotta.
Not because of you, but just, I don't want to be a policeman.
The timing is uncanny.
Well, first of all, I gotta apologize to our audience.
Uh-oh.
Yemi misspoke. This is actually called not Film Freaks. It's Chan Freaks with a C, because this podcast is now all about Jackie Chan movies.
That's right. Yep.
Tune in
Chan
next
Freaks.
Chan Freaks with the Z.
Just because of that, I'm not picking a Jackie Chan movie.
Oh no!
Oh, look what you did,
Callus
Callus.
burned that bridge. Way to go, Callus.
Crap.
Cancel Callus.
Well, hey, speaking of police and stories,
And
Greedy,
Jackie Chan.
you recommended a movie to us.
Sure did. So going off of last episode, we watched Police Story. I went ahead and recommended Police Story 2. It came out in 1988, so a few years after. Little synopsis: the Hong Kong super cop must stop a group of blackmailing bombers, while the villains of Police Story, the original Police Story, are out for revenge. Director is Jackie Chan. Some of the cast: Maggie Chuang. I'm gonna butcher all these. Bill Tung, Kwan Hung Lam, and John Ching, and a bunch of other people. Um, so, so, well, we finished the story, at least from the first one, right? Yummy, you say it is completed?
I'd say it's completed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
they can.
Did you get your questions you wanted?
They continued the story for sure, and yeah, I would say that the story from the first movie got completed about halfway through this one. But then the end of this movie is another kind of just ends.
Yeah,
I
just
didn't really get a
another
concrete
abrupt
ending
ending.
on this one. So I get a conclusion for the first movie and the second movie, but I guess we got to get a conclusion for the second movie and the third movie.
Well,
But I
it's
just
been.
wanted good.
I
No,
was just
Greedy,
gonna say.
Greedy's starting off this conversation.
Yeah,
Let him
Go
speak.
ahead, Greedy. Go ahead.
So I was gonna bring up the first thing that I wanted. I don't want to go right to your favorite action scene because that playground scene probably was top tier. But what do you guys think about the fighting scenes? Like I felt like it was a little more. I don't want to say cheesier, but it's just like a little more unrealistic. The way like some people are flying after like a just like a little leg sweep. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. But what do you guys compared to like the first one? What do you guys think?
I thought it was kind of like I felt like they kind of turned up the intensity a little bit on the fights. Yeah, I see what you're saying with like them sort of flying away. Jackie Chan's not usually known to use wires for the choreography, but for certain movies he does like use some wires for like certain things, and just a little bit, not to the point where it's like completely unrealistic, but he just to give like certain kicks and punches like certain oomph.
Hmm.
So
I
yeah, there's
I
something
think
that
they cranked the volume on the sound effects a little bit for the punches,
Yeah, that
which
too.
is
I was gonna
that's
bring
what
that
I
up next.
noticed mostly. I mean, I thought the action was pretty similar to the first movie. Even though there wasn't as many action scenes, I felt like they kind of had the same kind of feel to them from the first movie.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like I can call out a scene. I think it actually was the playground scene where he was like blocking, like a couple of attacks, and it sounded like guys was getting like full contact of like sounded like I don't know heavy like body hits. And I was like, I don't think that would be the correct sound, but
Well,
you never know.
it was like watching Kung Pao again with the sound effects in this one.
Yeah.
And I say that in a good way because I love Kung Pao, but like the over exaggerated punches were more noticeable in this one for me personally, and it just kind of reminded me of Kung Pao. I was just thinking about Kung Pao while watching some of the fight
yeah.
scenes,
Yeah.
just because of the sound effects, not because of what was happening on screen, but just the sound effects.
Hmm.
But funny enough, this movie is like way more serious than the first one. Like
Yeah,
tonally, it's
Yeah.
way more serious. It's like a lot less comedy aspects to it.
yeah, and I think the comedy didn't really land for me this time around. Like there was that whole like the one guy like farts in the elevator and he blames it on Jackie Chan. I didn't find that funny myself. I didn't think that was that funny. But later on, when like Jackie Chan walks into the superintendent's office and he breaks the window with the umbrella, I found that pretty funny. But I didn't find myself laughing through this one. The first one I had a lot of great laughs. There's a lot of good laughing scenes, a lot of good comedic moments throughout the first one. This one didn't really have that, and like you said, it is definitely much more serious, especially because like they have like a bomb scare and the one lady gets her arm blown off or something like that. It's like, holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are not really too many funny scenes. One of the funnier scenes I found was when May was like crying and she ran inside the PlayStation and went into the bathroom with all the guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All
yeah.
know taking
That
a
was pretty
shower.
funny. Yeah, and then
I
she
thought
went
you
to
were
the
gonna
other
bring in
guy's bathroom stall and just climbed on top of the toilet.
Yeah, okay, that was funny. I'll give it
was
that.
funny, yeah.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I love that when she just opens the door, doesn't even acknowledge the dude sitting on the toilet.
Yeah.
How about those policemen asses?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about him?
Are they better than the Top Gun ones?
Yeah,
Tay, you got
compare
anything else?
compare the shower scenes from Top Gun in this movie.
we should
Um,
we should make it
from
like a tier list of shower scenes.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll leave that to you, Callus. That's your
Yeah.
job.
That'll be Cal's new thing.
Oh no.
For me, I don't know. Like, yeah, it definitely was not as funny as the first one, but there were still a few things that made me chuckle throughout. I like when they're waiting for the superintendent to get off the phone, and May calls that she's been kidnapped, or I guess the aunt calls, and he goes to hang up, and it reminded me of the first scene with the first movie with all the phones, and he hangs up the phone, but he hangs up the superintendent's call.
Oh
Yeah.
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 That made me chuckle. Like I said, there was a few little chuckle moments, but not like as funny as the first one, for sure.
Yeah, I think another joke that didn't land for me was when Jackie Chan says that inspirational thing about we didn't get him this time, but we'll get him next time, and then the guy above him says the same thing to the
Oh, yeah, the
superintendent, and the
uncle repeating it.
superintendent says the same thing to the
Mhm. To
higher.
his
Like,
superiors.
yeah, I didn't find that funny. I understood what they were going for, but I was like, it's not like super funny. I'm not laughing. It's all subjective, of course, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did like the couple of reference back to the first movie. I thought that was clever, like the moped scene after the shower scene with May.
Yeah, we got a little flashback.
Yeah, a little flashback to the first movie,
Oh,
and then
and
she just runs into the police car after.
Yeah.
yeah. Did you guys enjoy seeing like the him jumping in the pole from the first movie like a fourth and fifth additional time?
Yeah. That was at the beginning though, kind of recapping.
Yeah, when they did that that little recap, my wife was watching at the time and she was just like, they better show it at least twice. And they did.
Yeah.
She's like, good.
Yeah, there wasn't anything like that in this movie, right? There was no like multiple shots of the same thing, right?
There was one shot of it twice, and it was something like stupid. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
even like that cool, and I was like, why would you show that one twice?
Oh yeah,
So
I
this
did
one
notice
just
that.
showed the bloopers, right? Some of the bloopers.
Yeah, they
Yep.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was there was like something I can't remember what it is, but they just one of the stunts they showed twice. It was just like him jumping off of something. I can't remember, but it was
Yeah, I
not
think
that
so. It was like,
impressive.
yeah, he like just jumped into. I don't remember what it was. I just remember him on a car and jumping, and they showed it twice, and I was like, that wasn't impressive. Why'd you show that one twice?
Oh, was it the one where
Was
he
it
jumped into the
the
sign?
window or the window?
No, I don't think it was the sign
No,
one.
that's not that one. No.
Not the
Not the-
glass window, right?
Yeah, no, like that one. I mean, I don't think was impressive, but that one I guess kind of would have made a little more sense. But no, it wasn't. It was just like something really mundane, and like I was like, okay, weird.
Yeah, the one where he jumped through the sign, it was like a very dangerous stunt, and you see the after effects of that, of him bleeding in his head, like in the bloopers
Yeah.
at the end credits. But on film, it doesn't really look that impressive. So, unfortunately,
Yeah.
Yeah, and them taking glass out of his skin. They showed that too.
There was a lot of head trauma in this one. There was like
Yeah,
3 or
yeah.
4
Yeah.
people at the end who had to get like their head looked at, including
Yeah.
May herself. Because
yeah,
when the
Yeah.
domino effect happened, one of them hit her in the blooper reel
hmm
or the pain
Yeah.
reel, I guess.
the pain reel. There you go.
Hey, no pain, no gain, right?
But so last time when we watched the first movie, Yemi had mentioned that there was a Criterion collection or the
Yes.
Criterion movie for it, and I didn't realize that it was like both movies, like first and second. So when I found that out, I had to jump on it, and so I watched it that way.
Yeah,
And
I almost bought that myself.
Wait, what'd you buy?
It's
oh,
a
the
Criterion Blu-ray.
It's a Blu-ray of both the first and second movies.
Yeah, it's like a
all,
fancy re-release,
renovated,
Nice,
4K,
gotcha.
all that.
new cover art and all that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my purchase. It includes a poster. Like there's some cool art on the box of like action scenes from the first and second movies, and then they included a poster. But instead of showing any of the cool action scenes for the poster, they just showed him when he was posing the first movie, like with a bike and just holding, like pretending like he's on patrol or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
That
the
poster
lamest
was-
thing, but I love it.
that poster was in this movie.
Yeah.
I noticed it in the background.
Well,
I
also
got that same
like
poster.
Jackie Chan was pretending to be the guy on the motorcycle in the first movie, and then he actually does it in this one. I thought that was
Right.
kind of humorous.
He actually became that traffic
Yeah.
cop. Yep.
Not as glorified as the picture.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but I was watching like some of the special features, and just to see if I can get like, any cool extra info on the movie. And one of the most interesting things I found is the fact that Jackie Chan's stunt team, like the people that he usually fights against, he's been working with the same group of guys for like years and years, and they've become like really good at communicating, which is why like the reason why all the fights look so realistic is because they're actually hitting each other and like there's like real contact. It's not super hard, but they are hitting each other, And like when you hear the grunts of them going like "Hiya, ha," like stuff like that, that's actually them communicating where the punches are gonna come from, so Jackie Chan knows where to block. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is interesting.
The one thing I do like about like both of these series and like first and second, and just I guess overall him directing is he took a couple punches. It wasn't him just like a total domination. I mean, I know he did win, but it's just it was good to see him get like beat up a little bit too.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I think we noticed that in Drunken Master too. Like he's not like the badass who just goes around punching everyone and they get knocked down in one hit. Like he'll take a few hits here and there. He'll get knocked down. He'll get bloodied. And
Mhm.
that makes him more human and makes it more believable.
So since we brought up the bike scene, and that's pretty early on in the movie, what did you guys think? Like in the first movie, you thought the pacing was great. Did you guys like feel like in the first half of this movie there was a little bit of a not so great pace of the movie?
Yeah.
I would
Yep,
say like the
totally.
first 25% is a little bit weird in the pacing department.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've watched like probably was about halfway through, and I had to like take a break. I was like, I need a break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not really much like happened in that first quarter of the movie. I would say like until like the jungle scene, gym scene happens.
Hmm.
I feel like that's kind of where the movie starts to take off because there really wasn't like obviously they were setting up a lot of stuff to happen later on, like the bomb and the and there was like that mini fight in the restaurant and but it wasn't like there wasn't anything too like gripping. It was a lot of like Jackie Chan and May just kind of like breaking up and then getting back together and then breaking up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Trying to go on a vacation, not being able to go on the vacation.
Yep. Typically, Jackie Chan movies are like pacing wise. I mean, like action scene wise, the way Jackie Chan likes to do it is he likes to just get more and more intense as the movie goes on, to where like the fights are longer and more intense.
Well,
The
I can
more the movie
definitely see that.
progresses.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
this one's a shining example of that. That's for sure.
yeah, and I think Drunken Master was done sort of like that too. But it's that's so weird how the first police story just they put such a big gigantic action scene right in the beginning. So that one's like an outlier in Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that I didn't like the first half. I just or not the first half. Like I would say the first quarter personally. It's just it was just not what I was expecting when the first movie started off with such a bang. I was expecting like a big action scene or something like that to start it off again. And even though they did present a lot of useful information in the first quarter, I wasn't like as invested as I was in the later half of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the story, but it seems like it wasn't as gripping as the first one.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was a problem with pacing or what.
This movie was a little longer than the first one, right? This one was about 2 hours
I say it
with
felt longer.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so what's one of your guys's what's your guys' favorite action scenes or just favorite scenes in general?
Well,
Well, the jungle gym.
yeah,
Was,
the playground was phenomenal. I thought that was the best action scene in the movie. Even though once again, the ending is great. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but that jungle, that the playground is just like that was awesome.
The shower scene was my favorite.
Yeah,
About you,
I loved
Thomas?
how Jackie Chan utilized like all the different playground equipment. I was expecting him to do something with the swings, but he never did. But that
Yeah.
was like such a well choreographed section of the movie. Um, I was like that was the part where I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Now we're into it.
How long do you think it took them to do like set all that up and take retakes and all that?
Probably about 5 minutes. No.
They did it
2
in
minutes
one.
first try. Yeah, first try, first go.
Yeah, didn't even rehearse. Jackie Chan just said, try and kill me," and
Yeah.
then that's
Try to throw a punch on me.
No, Jackie Chan's definitely a perfectionist. Like I did see in one of the documentaries them saying that he is a perfectionist, so that he does like lots and lots of retakes until he feels he gets everything perfect.
yeah.
Hmm.
I believe that. What about you guys? What was your favorite scene? Callus, Tay?
I'm trying to think. I mean, the playground scene is really good, but I feel like there was a scene that really stood out to me. Now I can't remember what it was, and I just watched this last night. And maybe it was the jungle gym scene.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I keep going back to thinking about like the final scene in that warehouse. There's like 2 really good falls that I really enjoyed watching. When the guy like fell out of the window and on top of the what's
You
it
mean when
called?
the 2 guys died?
Yeah, I mean there's some pretty crazy falls, and Jackie Chan going through that inside that tank, whatever that thing was, and then just falling out the
Yeah.
glass on the bottom. That was insane.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy one for sure. The guy falling into the barrels. I mean, that was
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Also, when they all died.
Well, yeah, it's not. We're not sure if they all died, but I
They
think
died because
I
they were
think-
knocked out
I think
and
that
the building
I
blew
mean,
up.
definitely the deaf mute guy died. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure about the guy who landed outside of the building. He might have been able to just kind of run away. The guy who fell
Maybe.
through the awning, he looked pretty pretty out. I think that he also he died,
Yeah.
which is interesting because
speaking-
the first movie had like 0 deaths in it, you know. But like
Yeah.
I said,
Really?
we didn't actually see them die. You know, it's the whole like, oh, if you don't, you know, the
Yeah.
person who falls off a cliff edge, you know, they're not dead until you actually see them die. You know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did the deaf mute guy, did that remind you of the fight from Drunken Master with the kicks?
Yeah, it did
little bit.
actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
That guy's pretty crazy with the kicks.
Yeah, he's pretty spry. He was. Yeah.
The one
I-
thing that kind of got to me was like he was struggling. You know, like in the first movie, he takes on like a whole armada of guys, and this one he's just struggling with like 3 guys.
They definitely seem to know more than like the ragtag groups. You know, like even like
Deaf
the
guy definitely did.
yeah, even like that playground scene. Like it's a bunch of just kind of like hired thugs. They don't really have their heart in it, right? But for
Yeah.
those 3 guys at the end, I mean, they had $20 million on the line. You know, they had, you know, they were you know. They had that whole conversation with Jackie Chan beforehand about like we don't want to go back to poverty or being poor or whatever, you know. So they were fighting for something, unlike the guys at the beginning who were just hired on by the one guy, you know.
Wait, do you think they were all hired by who?
They were
No, in
hired
the
by
first movie.
they
Oh,
were
the guy-
they were hired by the
okay,
guy in the
okay.
first movie. The
Mhm.
Yes,
the people
yes,
in the park. The 3 guys at the end are obviously new for this movie. But yeah, I think that the reason for what Tay is saying, I think that, you know, at the end they were, you know, the 3 guys were actually fighting for something rather than just kind of being hired thugs, you know.
Makes sense.
I'll
Plus, they could
give it
have
to
like
you.
Plus,
more martial arts training.
right, and plus the like the build up to that fight too, like all the police work that they put into it. Like that's another thing that this movie does better than the first one, is they actually show like it's actually a police story. You know, they're actually doing
Yeah.
you know reconnaissance and spying and stuff like that. And, you know, they're trying to uncover a mystery, and it definitely feels more like a police movie than the first one.
Oh, we should talk about that surveillance team.
Nah.
That's a pretty crazy group of people.
How many waifus in that group? 4?
At
think
least.
so,
Like the 3 of them with that interrogation scene.
Yeah, the interrogation
that.
scene was fun.
That's a hurt face planting like that off of a table.
Yeah, that had to hurt. But yeah, just
Well,
the
we
way
gotta
that they
take-
moved and stuff, it was all so smooth too, and like the cinematography was also like it was good throughout the movie, but in that scene, but in particular, was a lot of great like shots. Like she, you know, steps on his hand after going over the chair, and the camera changing there. I just thought that was really good.
Yeah, and there's the one of the scenes that I saw in the making of that I just had to pause and like go slow motion, just because it was like kind of crazy. Don't judge me for this, but when one of the girls like threw her legs like to kick the guy, but she pulled a gun out of her crotch, that was like insanely executed.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to talk about the scene where she pulls up her skirt. I was like, Callus.
Kaz was like, I didn't have to slow that one down. I just paused it.
Yeah, he's just like, took a picture.
But yeah, I like the whole group of people there. I didn't think anyone was like super crazy, but I like the dynamic of Jackie Chan leading the group and them all following his orders. Unfortunately, none of them seemed to help in the end. It was just Jackie Chan once again.
Yeah,
Right, he just ended up just taking care of everything by himself.
Guess I'll do it myself.
If you want the job done correct, you gotta do it yourself.
I almost forgot. There's another like quick action. The first action scene in the restaurant. One of the coolest things was like the Jackie Chan picks up like the bar stool and he interlinks it with the other guy and they spin it out of the way. I thought that was a pretty cool little part there. Just wanted to mention that real quick.
Yeah, in this movie, it's really cool just like seeing them pick up random things and just throw it. Like it wasn't like he threw it at his head. He just kind of picked it up and threw it out of like panic, I guess you could say. It's just like people would do that in real life,
Yeah.
Like the park scene where he just picks up this orange thing. I don't want to say it was like a trash can, or he just kind of like yeets it behind him.
There's a lot of like unique weapons used in this one, but there was nothing like highlighted. Like we were talking about how Jackie Chan always uses something weird to fight. I felt like the weirdest thing he used was like that short pipe in the playground scene.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
Yeah, I mean that's just another weapon that the bad guys were using.
yeah, but say where they all get those? I was like, those came out.
You just go to the local Walmart and
they brought it with them.
But there wasn't anything crazy that he used. I mean, he threw a few things later on that were kind of weird, but it wasn't like utilizing them as a weapon, like the coat rack in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny, like when he was in the alleyway and he tried to like yank the drain out of the wall, but he couldn't. So
yeah, yeah, that was good.
What do you guys think about the little firecracker or those little pop fire things and Jackie Chan getting on fire? I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was like the scene where he's like shirtless and getting pelted by those. I mean, I haven't used this word in a couple podcasts, but that was pretty visceral.
There it is. All right, podcast over. See you guys.
Why do we all? Podcast is always over after I say something.
You got the power.
But you didn't really see the effects of it until later when he actually had like the burn marks on his face and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a pretty intense scene when May was captive and he was in there tied up.
You guys think he was actually gonna die?
No, well, no. But
that's when the movie really started to pick up for me.
Yeah, it got much more intense than the first movie ever got to.
A lot more intense, yeah.
Although I wonder why those little pop things, like when they hit May right on the shirt, it didn't do anything. And then later in the movie, they are catching everything on fire that they touch.
Yeah,
well, later on, they were much bigger.
Yeah, I think there was just a different formula or something. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of what I figured as well. But
yeah, because the ones they used in that when they were tied up, they were tiny compared to the ones they used at the end.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, what'd you guys think of the deaf mute guy tricking Jackie Chan to put the fire out and then trying to throw him off the balcony? I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good old twist.
Yeah. I had completely forgot that happened also.
Come on, Callus.
Can't count on Callus to do anything.
Oh, so Tay, what do you think of the CGI, aka cinematography?
Cinematography. It was obviously they still used the wide end or the fisheye lens a little bit in the offices, but they seemed a little better than like the previous movie where like people on the edge were super like squished.
Yeah.
I was looking for that and I still couldn't see it. I guess I just don't have that eye for it.
Yeah. No, like I said, it was done better. Like I said, there was just one office scene where I noticed it, and it was slight. It was very slight compared to the first movie. And then everything seemed in focus this time, so there was no like way out of focus scenes. And I was like,
There
okay,
was one of the wide angle scenes that I did notice that was like way blurrier than the other scenes, like within
yeah.
that same, within like way blurrier than the other shots within that same scene. But yeah, definitely better use of the wide angle lens on this one.
Completely forgot about that because I probably would have been looking if I did remember that.
Yeah, I tried to see in like every once in a while I remember and I was like, oh, let's see if I can tell, but I could never tell. I don't know. But I believe you, Tay. Don't worry.
Okay, good. That was my worry.
So,
That's right.
what do you guys think about the fact that they blew up an entire building to do the ending shot?
Well, it was cool. It's worth
That was
it.
the second building they blew up.
It's pretty
That-
bombastic.
Was this the one that someone said that like they filmed it and had to get out of there or something?
No, that's not it. It was a different movie.
Okay.
They Hong Kong would let Jackie Chan do anything.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you want to nuke us? Go ahead for a movie.
Well, I think the other thing is like when I think it was Callus told that story. I don't think that they burnt down a building. I think they just filmed in it and then left. But yeah, I mean they actually blew up this building. Like there's directly after the movie like credit starts rolling, they show like that was actually a building and it was actually blown up. I mean I don't know how much money that would maybe it was a building meant for destruction anyway.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
So
Yeah, I'm
but
pretty sure.
yeah, it's like holy shit.
it's like they put all their budget towards like making that building and then blowing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, it was probably a building set for demolition.
And
or
Jackie Chan's like,
condemned-
hey, can I use this real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to film a scene. No worries.
I will
think
say
back
there
in
was
Texas-
times, especially the guy who snitched and then they caught and made him go blow up the police station. Like he opened up the briefcase and there's like 4 sticks of dynamite in there, and then it blows up. And like the very beginning, you see like the first explosion. You go, okay, yep, that's right. And then it just expands, and you're like, okay, that's
yeah,
that's fake.
Well, don't forget that they also placed 2 bags of dynamite outside.
Oh yeah. Dynamite is. I don't know. I've just watched, I guess, a lot of MythBusters where they
Yeah.
use sticks of dynamite. Like say, this is the equivalent of 1 stick of dynamite, and it goes off, and you're like, huh. That was unimpressive.
Anticlimactic, yeah.
Yeah, that left a dent in the floor.
Yeah.
So
So
it's just crazy, like doing something like that for a scene is like you don't have any like second chances. That's it.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing in the first one too.
yeah,
You only have one chance, don't with these cars, can't miss the shot, I think I mentioned before in Harold and Maude, they only had like one hearse / whatever they transformed it into, and the film like paused, or the recording paused for a second, and they were like, well, we got to use it because we don't have any other shots of this,
oh, yeah. I know that movie, or I know of that story, I should say.
All right. What do you guys think about like the whole bomb being attached to him and all that?
Oh
liked
yeah.
that
Oh my gosh, when he's in the tunnel and he's doing that stuff with the wires, that was
Oh, I love that.
that was
That was
intense.
awesome.
That was great.
Mm.
yeah.
And everyone's like,
ingenious,
"Hey, get out of the way! What's going on?" And then he's like, "I got a bomb!" And then you see him running.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
like he just completely left the bomb and the money in that car.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah. Once
Wow.
again, like it would have been nice to see like maybe the police roll up on it or something, Have it
Yeah.
just a
Mhm.
short scene of them getting the money, just having a little bit of conclusion on that, or having the bomb team come out.
Yeah.
Just quick. Doesn't need to be anything.
Jackie
I
Chan
think
does
it's-
not care about resolutions.
Yeah. I think it's funny that like the superintendent called after he it's like, I got the bomb, I gotta go, and he calls down and is like, let him go, and then his team's immediately just like, what's going on, don't go.
Well, I guess yeah, they definitely for whatever reason they tried to stop him at the beginning, but then no one actually followed him. So I guess that was slightly good. But it was smart of Jackie Chan to like go into the tunnel where radio signal couldn't get to, and he fooled them just enough, for just enough time to get out of that predicament. And it was pretty. That was pretty ingenious what he did. Attaching the wires to either end of the connectors. I don't know if it would actually work, but
I mean, no, it should. If it's just made from copper wires, he just made a second circuit. So cutting it, the circuit's not broke. It should work.
Yeah, it's still connected.
Yeah, but when he took it off, it seemed a little bit too tight when he was taking it off. And I was like, oh, one of those wires are going to slip off or something.
Yeah.
But it was a great scene, and I mean, yeah, it was fun to watch.
I am sad that like when he gets back to the warehouse and they're like they don't try to even detonate it or anything. They're just like, oh, yep, I guess he got it off somehow.
Yeah, they probably figured since he was gone for so long.
Yeah. Anyway, it just would be nice to see them like hit the button and then just like, oh shit, because they didn't seem like super smart guys.
Well, I mean, the one guy was making RC cars in the bombs. I guess it takes a
he
little.
was
Smart.
pretty
Yeah.
smart.
He was the smart one.
He was the smart one.
two were
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, all the other ones were just
Didn't
muscle.
they call the deaf mute guy dummy too? Like,
Did they?
like he's the smartest one out of all you, and you're calling him dummy? That was his nickname or something. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was funny also, like when Jackie Chan was fighting that deaf mute guy, like eventually he just started mimicking the sounds that he was making.
Yeah. Well, that was when Jackie Chan started winning. He started giving a little payback.
Yeah.
Payback's a bitch.
Anything else that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, you guys got any other scenes or things you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to know Tay's thoughts on May in this movie compared to the first one.
Well,
because in the first movie she stays with him for for unknown reasons, right? And this one she actually stands up for herself and leaves him, but she's still wrapped up in all his shit,
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I appreciated her a little more. I appreciated her in the first movie, but yeah, I felt like, okay, you're not just like you've tried to leave. It wasn't just the whole I'm leaving you, and then the next day she's back.
Yeah,
without any.
That kind of happened once, but the second time when he left her on the plane, like she was done after that, and I was like, oh, good for you, May. Good for you.
That's when Yemmy got up and clapped.
Yes.
Yep.
It was
like
weird.
Cho clapped when the thug got punched in the face. I did find it weird that like that was their resolution is like I'm dying in 3 months. Haha, I'm out of jail. I was like, okay.
Yeah, from the description, it seems like he's going to have much more of an impact on the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like he should have had a little bit more impact. Yeah. But it also seems like that lawyer guy was like kind of controlling him. Like maybe he didn't really want revenge on his deathbed, but the other guy wanted the paycheck. Like he was like trying to get him to sign that check, like as he was dying.
Well, that's just because he was penniless at that point.
He was a good lawyer, though.
That wasn't the lawyer, though, right?
Oh, that wasn't the lawyer? Who was that?
No, that was the lawyer.
Was it the lawyer?
Oh,
it looked
was.
Like a different
See, I was right. I knew it.
Yeah, I think it is.
Tay's trying to confuse me over here.
He got a haircut, okay?
I just thought his the glasses were the same and they broke the same way when they were punched, so I figured running gag from the first movie.
Yeah. And it's so funny, like when the guy's like in the bed, when Cho's in the bed and Jackie Chan walks in, like he quickly takes off the glasses just because he doesn't want them to break again.
Yeah.
And then they end up breaking anyways.
Just getting back on.
But real quick, I was gonna bring up Megan. Did anyone else think it was weird how like after she had left, after that shower scene, the next scene is just them like sitting in the stairs and just gonna sitting there quietly with no explanation?
Well, I think it's because Uncle Bill at that point finally had called her and explained what happened. So they were trying he showed up. I was hoping they could work it out, but they didn't talk. They were just
Awkward.
awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it sets up the playground scene. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. I guess I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe because Jackie Chan is so wound up in his work, he's not sure how to communicate with May on a personal level like that.
Yeah.
Well, not throwing her off a moped would probably do it. Or the scooter, whatever you want to call
Well, he didn't do
Scooter,
it this
moped,
time.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He learned.
Yeah.
He showed growth.
Well, she learned. She told him to take his hand off her backpack because the
Oh, yeah.
flashback was her remembering that happening. Jackie Chan was already
Yeah.
holding on to it.
Yeah.
And then she goes right into the police car.
She
Then
has a new
cries for
lesson
help.
learned.
That was like great, where she was like, "Help me! Don't touch me!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. Good job, May. Standing up for yourself.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, she's
gonna
like,
be mad.
she's such a sweet girl, and she's like always super optimistic when things aren't going,
Mm-hmm.
their way. She definitely did not deserve, or he definitely does not deserve her.
Yeah.
Cal just said that about Jackie Chan?
The character.
Jackie Chan's character.
Ah,
Yeah. Jackie Chan's still the greatest actor alive, so.
Yeah, see, he can act like a douchebag.
yeah.
Oh, Greedy,
Oh.
since this was your pick, can you please say the Chinese name of the movie?
Oh, yeah, the original title. So it was Police Story 2. No, I'm kidding. So the original title was Jing Chat Gu Si Chuk Chap.
Perfect.
I was actually going to say that in my original introduction, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But
You
yeah,
got any other scenes? Anything else? Are you good to move on to ratings?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
yeah, I think we are good. Can't think of anything else.
I think we covered it.
All right. Well, my pick. So I'll start it off, and don't forget we go in order now. So, take it ready. Police Story 2 coming off of the first one, which we all thoroughly enjoyed. This one also does very good job. That pace and the pacing was a little more bad in this one, I guess I should say. About halfway through the movie, it starts picking up that I want to say like that jungle scene, the playground scene. Actually, is where I started like getting into it. I like some of the jokes, some of the running jokes that were going on throughout the movie, and then some of the references back to the original movie. So it was a good on that. The acting was great. The fighting choreography was awesome. Even though I did say like it seemed kind of more cheesy than the first one. But the second one, thoroughly enjoyed as well, and I just overall was a fun movie halfway through. I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Like the pacing was a little off. Like the first half of the movie, it's kind of like, okay, where's this going? Like I thought the guys from the first movie were definitely going to be playing a bigger role and not just harassing and then leaving.
Yeah.
I was like kind of waiting for that, and it's like, okay, so wait, how are these bomb guys going to be tied to them? And they weren't, and I was like, oh, all right, fine. But overall, like I still enjoyed it. It was fun, especially like I said, once it hit its stride, it got really good. Basically, I think for me, it was that point where people start getting bombed. And I was like, all right, now the stakes are high now. Yeah. Sound effects were a little too loud, like was mentioned. Overall, though, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right. Well, Yeah, overall, I definitely didn't like this movie as much as the first one, but it was still very enjoyable. Still very good action scenes, very good fighting, the choreography. The story, I liked the story and the intense moments, but for some reason, the way, I don't know what it was exactly, but it didn't really have me as hooked as it should have been, considering like just how intense and the whole investigation was and all that. But I still very much enjoyed it. It was still entertaining movie. So overall, I would have to give it a 4 out of 5.
All right. For me, I thought that I think that the first, I would say I say quarter, but I think like the first quarter of the movie is just a little bit slow, and it doesn't pick up as fast as I wanted it to, and even though it was interesting, it just didn't really grab me as much as the original movie did, the first movie. Um, I thought that they had a lot of great action scenes still, even though there was a fair amount less of them. And I did like the fact that there was like actual story, more story to go along with them this time around. Of course, the playground fight is like my favorite scene, and I thought that the finale was bombastic and they set the bar pretty high with the mall and like to blow up a building, like that's the next step, so it's like, oh, what's gonna happen in the third movie, I think they blow up a skyscraper, who knows. But yeah, I think that the movie had was great, not as good as the first one, but still pretty good. And I also still have the same problem where it's like the ending just doesn't feel like a concrete good ending. I just needed like a little bit more, like maybe the police showing up and showing that they arrested two of the three, or some of them died. I don't know. Just need a little bit more resolution at the end. And once again, oh, maybe you gotta wait till the third movie to find out. I don't know. But in the end, I'm also gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Cool. Well,
Alright.
before we get to Tay's pick, I just wanted to remind Tay that the third one is. I just wanted to remind him that it contains Michelle Yeoh with some pretty amazing kung fu fights and abilities. So not to influence his opinion, just wanted to put that out there.
No, you don't. You
But
don't have to worry.
but also, I don't think it picks up like right after this one though.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I watched the trailer for it to see what was going on, because I was like thinking like this one wrapped up pretty good, but like yeah, we don't see them get arrested or anything, but like it felt like the story at least had pretty much come to an end. But then I watched.
You need that falling action, you like that falling action though. Like you learn about like how a story should have like those those plot points, right? You get the action stage, and you get like that finale, and then you have like a descending action or whatever, something to cool the movie down and have a more fit resolution.
None of that.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings had like 6 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Well, like even like let's take the Fellowship of the Ring into account. They have that action scene in the forest where Boromir dies and Lurtz gets his head chopped off. Right after that is the scene of Frodo and Sam going away on the ship, and then you see Aragorn and Gimli and them planning on taking chasing after the hobbits. That's a good descending action. It's a good ending to the movie because it leaves a little bit to be to wait for the next one, but also kind of gives you an idea of where the next movie's going to go, and also gives you that descending action where it's like, okay, it's not a concrete ending, sure, but it's still like an ending that like you died down a little bit and you got some information for the next round.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, either way, like I said, I watched the trailer for Super Cop or Police Story 3, also just called Super Cop. And it does look a little more like action heavy. It reminds me a lot of the 90s like Jackie Chan movies I've seen. So I decided, you know what, all right, it looks kind of might be interesting. Let's pick it.
All right.
Yes.
Alright.
So Police
Yep.
Story 3 Super Cop came out in 1992, directed by Stanley Tong. So it wasn't Jackie Chan who did this one. It has Jackie Chan, Michelle Yeoh, Maggie Chung, Kenneth Singh, Yuen Wah, Bill Tong. and lots of other people. Someone named Mars. Their name's just Mars, like the planet. Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Let's
He was
see,
apparently in
synopsis.
Rush Hour too, and
Oh,
one,
yeah. Well, like I said, I mean,
and the
it's
Drunken Master.
yeah, I was saying their
Oh.
teams. It's all Jackie Chan's stunt team.
But he wasn't.
They're
He was in Police Story 2. Okay, all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the tagline for this, or the description of it, there's never a cop around when you need one, but when this cop's around, all you need is one. A Hong Kong detective teams up with his female red Chinese counterpart to stop a Chinese drug czar.
And can you please say the original Chinese title?
I don't speak Chinese. I'm sorry. Or I can't read Chinese. And it's all in Chinese.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
So contrary to the last two movies, this one is not on HBO Max, but you can rent it on Amazon. So that's the place you can go, or iTunes, YouTube, etc. So yeah, that is weird. It's probably not on HBO because it's not a Jackie Chan directed movie. Maybe he owns the rights
Maybe.
to Police Story 1 and 2, but not 3, possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, something going on with the producer, the production team. I think it was just different. Yeah.
Which explains that, like I said, it did look like it was very, just from the trailer, it looked like it was very high quality. So
No, actually, it's still the Golden Harvest Company and Golden Wave Films. Still the same.
Jackie Chan
studios,
is just like,
so
I don't want to direct this one. Let me just be in it.
Well, what else? I mean, he was in a lot of things in the 90s, so maybe he just had too many
Yeah.
projects going on, and he had to take the
Probably.
back
Yeah.
seat on this one.
But at this point in his life, yeah, he started making Hollywood movies. So
Yeah.
he was a very busy guy.
Well, all right. If you, the listener, don't want to be spoiled, or if you want to join the conversation for Police Story 3 Super Cop, make sure you watch that before the next episode in 2 weeks. We'll reconvene in 2 weeks to discuss Police Story 3. And of course, if you want to join the fan vote, that's going to happen during Tay's episode. So before you listen to that, or maybe during, maybe you get reminded during the episode, make sure you jump over to my Twitter to vote on that. Like I said, there's 4 brand new movies that we haven't had on the list before, so that's pretty exciting. And of course, if you want to recommend a movie, just send us an email, comment on the latest episode of Film Freaks, or talk in the Discord. Any one of those is going to do just fine. Was there anything you guys wanted to mention before we ended the show?
Don't forget to clean your ass.
Yeah.
Why is the Super Cup Blu-ray $60? That's insane.
Wow. Because it's a really good movie.
No,
Let's hope.
see.
All right, clean your ass.
Yep.
All right.
Sure to wipe your ass and clean it good.
All right. Well, I am Superintendent the Ferret, and I've been here with
Investigator Bill Wong Waffles.
Resigned policeman Tay.
And Detective Kellis.
and we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. Chen Freaks.
Chan Freaks.